Hey guys, it's Farley at Home Pole Studios. This is your Home Studio Surface Model 3.0 assembly guide. One quick note before we begin, don't try to lift up or relocate your Surface without taking it apart first. Unless you're just lifting it up ever so slightly and moving it a couple of inches to adjust its placement, don't try to move it or relocate it while it's assembled. Alright, let's get started. This model features our thinnest and most lightweight design yet. We have a super efficient new leveling system. You can see that in the photo here. And rounded outer corners, as well as a simplified assembly process. If you have an 8x8 surface, you'll have 2 panels and 1 set of locks down the middle seam. 8x12 surface, you'll have 3 panels, 2 sets of locks, and T-joints, 1 for each seam. For 8x16, 4 panels, 3 sets of locks and levelers. Step 1, choose the location that you want your surface in, measure it as needed. You'll need a little bit of space around it in order to assemble the pieces. Sweep up or vacuum, make sure the area is clear and clean, and of course take your pole down. If you're using an adjustable height pole, keep lowering it another inch to inch and a half so that it's going to fit in after the surface is assembled. If you are placing your surface on something that is already rigid and hard, such as concrete tile, etc., consider using a barrier between those surfaces. And if you would like information or recommendations, we're happy to talk to you about that. The parts that you should see in your shipment include a hex key and enough T-joints to fill each of the channels. On each panel you'll see a small keyhole so that you can insert the hex key and operate the lock, and then you'll also see the cam locks, which are cut into the bottom of the floor. To get started joining your panels together, set the first panel in place on the floor. We'll call that panel A. Take those little T-joints and insert them into the channels on panel A. Hold one panel in place while the other person guides the channel onto each T-joint until you've got all of them partially inserted. One person can also complete this step if you place the edge of the surface against a flat wall. Closing up the middle seam, it's going to take evenly distributed pressure towards that middle seam, closing the space within about 1/4 of an inch. Once you're that close, you can actually close the seam the rest of the way by operating the locks. Insert the hex key into the keyhole and give it a half turn to engage the lock. When it feels like it's gone all the way, you're going to use additional force to turn it a little bit further. It's about 1/4 to a half an additional turn until you can hear and feel the lock click and close completely. And you're going to want to do that for both of the locks. There's 2 per seam. If that does not close the entire gap, press against the edges of the surface toward the middle until you've gotten all of the gaps out. And if your surface is shifted a little bit as you're adjusting it and putting it together, now would be the time to get it nice and straight or aligned however you like it before you put your pole back up. That's it. You've got your home studio surface all set up, and we've got more ideas for you on customizing it on our YouTube channel and our Instagram feed. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to your feedback.